All right, and we're back for another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows. And if you can, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. Well, I don't know if you still have Spotify Podcasts. Lately that's been a touchy subject. But if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source, the great folks at LakerHolics.com, be part of the conversation today at LakerHolics.com. And a big hello to Jeffrey Crouch. Yes, sir, the Lakers. Well, we'll talk about them in a sec. Plus also our good friends on the Hoopheads Podcast Network. It is sincerely appreciated. I know we all miss Kobe there, Jeffrey. I know we all do indeed. Just an anniversary, a tough one the other day for us all as Lakers fans. But truly appreciate you joining us out there on Facebook at Lakers Fast Break. The Lakers, unfortunately, closing out the Grammy trip, and I use air quotes because the Grammy, unfortunately, was delayed. But unfortunately, the Lakers headed into Atlanta as the last game on this long road trip. And with a lot of teams in the NBA, you see as far as when they go on their road trip and the last game on a road trip, usually there's not much energy left. Usually the teams are tired because they've been on the road for 7 to 10 days. So you usually don't get the maximum effort and usually don't get the kind of effort that you'd like to see from teams. But today for 3 quarters, we saw a great offensive performance from the Los Angeles Lakers. It was something that was very good, even though we didn't even have LeBron James. And the latest news on LeBron James after an MRI is that there is still swelling in the knee, and he was sent home early to Los Angeles to go get some rehabilitation done on the knee and maybe some extra rest. And hopefully he'll come back sometime later this week. That's the early word. Maybe we'll see. But that knee is pretty troublesome. But the Lakers, even without LeBron, headed into Atlanta and gave a great offensive show for 3 quarters. And at the end of 3 quarters, we're up by 10. And things were starting to look good for the Lakers because Malik Monk was shooting out of his mind with over 30 points, 33, in fact, and eight three-pointers. Also as well, Anthony Davis chipped in with 27. So things were looking good. Even Russell Westbrook, the hero of last game, was doing well as well with 20 points himself. He figured, okay, if the Lakers can just maintain this kind of offensive enthusiasm, because they certainly couldn't bring any defense to the game, but neither did Atlanta. They thought they could bring it home and end the road trip on a good note. But unfortunately for the Lakers, they kind of tired out. You could see the fatigue. You could see the effort kind of wane in the fourth quarter, and the Atlanta Hawks came roaring back from a 10-point deficit to go ahead and pull past the Lakers with a 38-20 fourth quarter and a 129-121 victory over the Los Angeles Lakers. So the Lakers only gained 2 wins on this road trip. Very unfortunate indeed. The Lakers now fall to 24-27, still in 9th place in the Western Conference. But here today to talk about the game, and hopefully if he can just, get his arm out of the sling, or even if it's in the sling, he might have been able to play better defense. He's a good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check out what he's doing today at LakerHolics.com, including his latest article right there for you to read. And there's been a lot of comments on it. It is LakerTom. And LakerTom, again, offensively, you really can't fault much outside of that fourth quarter. Defensively, it was just not even – and not at any point in the game could they put two sequences together of good defense. It was just a very shame to see that they wasted such an offensive performance that was really, really good to see.
Well, you could see that they sort of ran out of gas when they entered in the fourth quarter, Gerald. Yeah. And Franks never seems to be conscious of whether there's shooters on the floor. It's like spacing doesn't really matter, and this was one of those games where we really struggled. And a lot of the time when we get into these situations like we did at the start of the fourth quarter, the problem is a two-way problem. It's not just that we can't stop the other team scoring. It's that we can't match them. We keep coming down, and you go through a series where All it takes is a couple of, let's say, Russell Westbrook ill-advised three-point shot attempts, a drive into the middle where maybe he turns the ball over. I mean, we had a lot of turnovers in this game again. We gave up a lot of points off of the turnovers. And, you know, we had maybe the best first half shooting that I can remember having, shooting 70% from the field and 50% from three. We only made 5 out of 10 free throws in that first half, but even that really was I think the only time we played good defense was maybe the last 2 minutes of that half, where we basically were hitting at the other end and getting the ball back at one end. But, you know, we were missing LeBron. This is a team that can't win the minutes even within winning games when LeBron is on the bench. So yeah, give us credit for sticking in there. I thought the team played hard. I thought they played well. I think the 2-4 record for the 6-game road trip is probably more a reflection, in my mind, positive play, because I didn't see us quit in any one of those 6 games, even in the 4 losses. And we were behind by 20 points in at least 4 of those 6 games. And we came back and we fought and we made it a game in every situation. So I think that the questions about whether or not we have heart and effort to win the games is there. I also thought AD tired in the second half. He obviously didn't have as great a first half as he enjoyed. And part of that, I think, is the size issue. You know, we're still struggling with a size issue. In the first half, the reason we were so good was that we won the points in the paint battle and we won the rebounding battle. But by the end of the game, that tide had shifted completely over where you would expect. The bigger Hawks won the battle for the points in the paint and they won the reboundings.
Although we closed out the third quarter pretty strong. That was our last gasp. Unfortunately, like you said, we ran out of gas in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think you're right. This was the 24th quarter of the road trip, and 24th out of 24, and they were ready to go home.
It was called the getaway game for a reason, folks.
Right.
Yeah, they wanted to get away. Unfortunately,
but you know, I mean, good signs. There's still good signs in there, because I think we know for sure of a lot of the things that we have in the lineup now, even though they haven't been able to be optimized by playing with the right players. We know, for example, that LeBron James is playing at an MVP level. And if he gets a little bit of rest in the next few games, I don't have a problem with that. I want that knee to be as solid and stable as possible. And Anthony Davis, all we were begging for earlier in the season was bubble AD. I think we've seen bubble AD. The defense he played today, even though I thought he got a couple of poor calls from the referees, was elite defense. He's really been doing the job defensively, and you can see that once we get those 2 superstars, you and I and Jamie and everybody in the blog has pretty well acknowledged one of the staples of this season, or one of the staples of the LeBron James, Anthony Davis reign, which is basically that if we have both of those guys healthy and playing at their best, then we are the favorites in this league. And we have that right now. I think we're getting close to be able to say that we're going to go into the playoffs, knock on wood that nothing else happens, with our best 2 players healthy, fairly rested, and playing at the peak of their game. We couldn't ask for more than that, you know, but we've gotten more than that. We've got definitely points from Melo, definitely points from Monk coming off of the bench. We've got Reeves playing solid defense and all-around play and hustle. We need some size, basically. Stanley Johnson's doing a good job, and he is a handful for people to handle as a small ball 5. But as the second biggest player on the lineup, it's pretty tough when we go against a team that has any size, just like the Hawks did tonight. So I think one of the keys is that somehow, you know, this team is looking good. We still have some moves to make. We still have 7 more games before the trade deadline. And we need some size. We need some size, either a stretch 4 or a stretch 5, to be able to come in there and give us more power. On the negative side, or the concern side, Dwight
looked bad today.
Dwight did not look like he's going to be the answer for a third big man. And so we need to really be looking at that, whether we have to give a second round pick to get somebody like the guy Jones that we had before, some young legs. We've got to somehow make a deal to upgrade because right now it's AD and LeBron playing center, and anybody else who plays center is going to cost us dearly. And I don't think we want to go into there with just those two guys as our only centers. So we need to make some action on that and see what happens. And
one thing I want to go ahead and before we head on out, part with you on this. Malik Monk has to start. Malik Monk off the bench.
I absolutely think so.
And Malik Monk, there's a difference. There's such a difference in play, in rhythm for him, and the way the team plays offensively. I understand the defensive issues, but offensively, this team flows so much more, and he flows so much better in the offense when he's starting. It's night and day. Night and day.
Well, he is probably our most trustworthy volume three-point shooter. And by being volume three-point shooter, I mean not only a guy who will take 7, 8, 9, 10 threes in a game, but he'll look to take those in. He wants to take those. And that's what you need to have. For example, Avery Bradley is a good player. He's 38% three-point shooter, but he has 0 three-point gravity because they'll let him take his 3 shots a game, which is what he averages, and they'll live with whichever way they go. But they're not going to stick by him on the three-point line in the corner or anywhere. Malik Monk is different because you don't want to get a guy like that going. So he's the one guy that if you throw him in the starting lineup with LeBron, AD, and Russ, you have three-point gravity. Then the next question is, who do you put next to him? Right now it's Stanley Johnson, I think. But if we could make a trade, obviously maybe we can't get a Jeremy Grant, but if we can get a Eric Gordon, if we can get a Gary Trent Jr. or we get a guy like that who's, let's say, a 2-guard or 3 who can score big numbers, then you got 2 shooters with those 3
Terrence
superstars
Ross,
who can't shoot.
Terrence Ross and Gary Harris, they've been pretty much, living in Orlando at this time, which has not been a great place to go, a great place to be, but they both have had.
But that's who we're going to have to go for, Gerald, because everybody else wants the bigger guys. And ideally, we'd love to get Jeremy Grant, but the competition for him, a lot of teams are going to spend all of their money on big guys. And even looking at the problem today, I keep going back to the same thing that if I were Rob Pelinka, I would be talking to the Indiana Pacers about Miles Turner, because I still think that you could stick Turner in there as the center with Davis and LeBron and have the 3 of them play center all of the time. And this team would never be out rebounded or, outscored in the paint. So it'll be interesting. We have one shot at one guy probably, and a bunch of other shots with the buyout market and
that's the
trades
thing.
of draft picks and stuff like that. But we really only have enough assets to fill one spot. We need a starter to go with the 3 guys, the 3 superstars.
The buyout market is going to be very heavy as far as on the buyer end, as far as that's concerned.
Yeah,
so,
there's no who sells anymore. 4 teams on each league.
Yeah,
in each conference.
And that's the thing. If there's actually one good buyout candidate, there's a host of teams that will want to go ahead and put them on, especially ones that are higher up in the rankings. So that's another problem.
And the problem becomes playing time.
Yeah.
Now that's the one thing that we probably can offer for a stretch 4 or 5. We can give them who can defend. We can give them playing time. That may be our biggest opportunity, a chance at a ring and playing time.
Well, it's been something to see. But again, the Lakers do unfortunately close out their road trip, the quote-unquote Grammy road trip, with a loss, 129-121. Again, defense on the perimeter, a lot of issues there with Trae Young scoring 36 points. You knew once Bill McDonald said that he had not had a good game against the Lakers, you knew he was going to have a good game against the Lakers, and that's the kiss of death right there. But
I would like to see a statistical analysis that compared every player in the NBA, like the top 50 players in the NBA, for example, what they do on average versus what they do against the Lakers, because I don't think it's an illusion or a home fan feeling that we get the best of every team every time that they come and play us or we go and play them.
Well, the center combination for Atlanta, Onyeka Okongwu and also Clint Capella, they combined for 31 points and almost perfect shooting. You also had John Collins, 10 for 13. Again, the defense was an issue all around as far as for both teams. Both teams had seemingly at times scored at will and was just like back and forth, which is great for offensive minds like us that love the scoring. But if you want defense, it was kind of
But
really a rough
those
game
10-point leads don't mean much, do they?
Yeah, no, they don't. And we've talked
All
about
it
that
takes
in
is
the NBA.
two threes and a layup, and two turnovers and let's say two turnovers and missed shots at the other end, 3 shots on the other end, and you turn around and it's an 8-0 swing, and the game's a whole different game.
And I don't want to be hard on Russell Westbrook today. I mean, 20 points, 12 assists, 7 rebounds, 4 turnovers, especially the one that I've seen today where he just literally just gave the ball away. He just tossed the ball into
What
the
was
middle.
that little pass right into the
Yeah,
middle of 3 defenders?
You know, they've talked about somebody actually throwing a game. For a second there, I thought he might have been throwing a game or he bet on the Hawks with that kind of pass. But of course he wasn't. But, you know, it just was that bad of a pass. It's probably one of the 3 worst passes I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, it just, you see that with Russ.
Russ's problem is that he has small hands. Donald Trump's problem. Because he loses a hold of the ball when he makes these sweeping moves, and he can't grip the ball the way Kawhi can, you know, and that makes such a difference. I mean, any kid who has a Nerf basketball understands how important it is to be able to hold onto that ball and move it around.
But yeah,
Russ can't control it. The ball is actually like a third object out of the world that's going at a different speed and pace than Russ is.
But coming off that tremendous game that he had in Charlotte, where they got robbed, by the way, I think that's still that call by the refs on that charge. It was just block was just very disappointing, and that was the difference.
I don't know. Is the NBA? I haven't seen anything about.
They send you the next day. That doesn't do any good because
at least it gives some justification that
and the Lakers filed a protest. Have you ever seen a team with a protest actually get turned over? No, it hasn't been. Yes, no. What a waste of time.
But I mean, when you review a play like that, how could you come up with a decision that was not an offensive foul?
It was clear. It was clear as day. But again, it's a tough loss. Just like this one was a tough loss because
but none of these really matter. None of these really matter. The simple truth is we've put ourselves into a situation where we need a perfect storm of good fortune in the form of LeBron's health, AD's health. Maybe we might someday get the top player that we recruited this summer to play, Kendrick Nunn. It's how, we have to have everything go right to win because we're going to come in there. We'll be lucky if we can get to the 6th seed. Yeah. I'm not worried about being a play-in team because we'll win that. So we'll go in there. We'll go in there basically, but we're going to have to go through, 4 or 5 rounds to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to find some sucker to take our 3 best trading chips and give us something that's better than what they are.
Yeah.
We're going to have to be lucky on the buyout market. And then we're just going to have to stay healthy.
Yes, we are indeed.
If we can't do those things, then we don't have a chance. But if we could do all of those things, which is a growing list almost every game, and we'll continue to grow until we finish these 82. If we could do all of those things, we have a chance just because of LeBron and AD. They're playing right now like top 5 players. And
they are playing very well, both of them, when they're both in the lineup. But that's the thing. If you want to check out his latest article, it is, will the return of Anthony Davis be the catalyst to kickstart the Lakers? So far, it hasn't because, we haven't
because LeBron James was gone.
Yeah. Right. So one comes in, the other one goes out. Yes. The other one flew home early to Los Angeles. But the Lakers, once again, fall in Atlanta, 129-121. They just, unfortunately, in the 4th quarter, just tired out after having a 10-point lead. But we will tell you right now that we truly appreciate the big numbers that we're seeing today. Cannot thank you enough for joining us on the Lakers Fast Break. Also, as well, you can catch us on YouTube, and big shout out to everyone there on YouTube that catches us. But we will be back again for the Lakers' next game. We're going to go ahead and just tell you what, actually, we might even have an episode coming up here in the not too distant future outside on the day, because I know Sean Grice has been asking to come back on. So we'll go ahead and see if we can get him on along with Jamie Sweet, those two characters together for an upcoming episode. But LakerTom and I will probably be back on Wednesday, because that's a home game against Portland. So that's Wednesday is the next home game for the Lakers. Tom, any last thoughts on the way out? Tom, any last thoughts on the way out?
Go Niners.
Oh my gosh, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it indeed. But if you have any questions,
no, we're gonna have some Ram tonight. Our third time that we're gonna have Ram for dinner.
Okay, we'll see what happens. In the NFL, it's really hard to beat a team 3 straight times. So
right.
That's what they say.
Well, you know what? For the Rams, it's hard to beat the 49ers.
Yeah, no, I guess so. We'll see in LA. But again, the Lakers fall 129-121. If you have any questions for LakerTom or any crazy trades like he has, you can check out at LakerTom on Twitter. You can also check out his tremendous articles along with Jamie Sweet's articles at 5 Things and so many other things that are right there for you at Lakerholics.com. You can also go ahead and check us out at Lakers Fast Break on Twitter. Please follow us there. And of course, if you have any questions in detail, Lakers Fast Break at yahoo.com. Well, once again, the Lakers fall 129-121 to end this long, way too long road trip. And we'll be back on Wednesday for sure after the game against Portland. Hopefully that will go ahead and just provide some distance for us as far as that 9 to 10 spot in the plan, which we don't want to get closer to the 10. We want to get back higher up in the food chain.
We'd really have to lose a lot of games in order to slide down
don't
to the 10.
Don't start that. Don't start that.
It just depends on if LeBron's out for a week.
He'll probably be out for a week. They'll probably rest him for at least a week.
Well, it's funny. One of the reasons
could be through the All-Star break.
Yeah. You're right. We got that coming up. And in a way, it plays into the same story the Lakers had in the bubble that won the championship. They were off. They had their 2 superstars have 4.5 months off before they had to come back and play 8 games I think we played before we started the playoffs.
Yeah, and it didn't look so good then. But
they didn't look so good then. But that's because everybody had been off for 4.5 months. But AD getting his 30 days off looks really refreshed. Hopefully, just finishing a season, the 30 games is not going to kill him. And LeBron, getting some time off right now, and maybe he won't play until after the All-Star break. It's not an impossible situation. Because I think that what the Lakers are feeling is pretty much that if you take all of the things that have to happen right, the most important things are healthy LeBron, healthy AD. If they have a healthy LeBron and healthy AD, they can win this championship. If they don't have a healthy LeBron or a healthy AD, they can't win this championship. Makes it pretty easy to decide what to do with LeBron and AD's time as far as I'm concerned. You just watch where you are and who you're matched up against, and you don't burn these guys out trying to just get a better seed. Instead, you just want to get into a rhythm and learn how to win and reduce their minutes, reduce the chances that they can get hurt, and try to go into the playoffs on an upswing and with everybody healthy, and hope that Kendrick Nunn can somehow either have a believer out there who will trade something for him or turn out to be our surprise best player of the year, that nobody thought would be there until the playoffs.
Well, we'll see what happens. And this week, again, our next game is on Wednesday against Portland, back home in the Crypt, crypto.com arena. So you have any questions for us at LakerTom or at Lakers Fast Break on Twitter. But the best place to go for all your Lakers conversations is Lakerholics.com. We will be back on Wednesday. I want to thank the big crowd that watched us today. Maybe it's the fact that they don't want to watch football, but you know what? We'll take it. Again, it's the Lakers going ahead and meeting up against the Portland Trailblazers on Wednesday, and we'll be back after the game. And we wish everyone a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we'll see you later this week right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.